I don't know why I'm saying this on TV, but like I get depressed states too.
Oh,
Or
dude,
something
for
happens.
sure,
Like,
for
oh my
sure. Yeah,
God, I got to get this done, and this is all
yeah,
messed up, and I got.
yeah.
That's what separates. I always say the men from the boys, and
Mm.
it's not even that. That's what separates an entrepreneur, somebody that's successful, from somebody that caves and fails. Because there's really in business, there's going to be hard things that come to you, and
Hmm.
it's just how you take those things and how you react and how you overcome those things are really what sets a good business person apart from, just somebody there for
Every
a check
day.
or or an
Yeah,
everyday
yeah.
guy.
On my $1 million hustle. It's the $1 million Hustle Podcast, where we keep it real, I stated entrepreneurship wisdom. Learn to think like a millionaire and hustle like you're broke. Here's your host, Billy Dha Kidd, aka Billionaire. Think like a millionaire and hustle like you broke. This free game to change your life, you better so. Think like a millionaire and hustle like you broke.
What up, y'all? Billy Dha Kidd, aka BDK. So actually, normally I'll record the intro right after the podcast is done, but I had a lunch meeting that I had to go to, and just talking to Rob, man, like it's always amazing, and that's who we had on the podcast today, Rob Peinado from GP Customs, man. Rob Peinado, baby, let's go. And you know, honestly, man, it was such a great podcast. I cannot wait for you guys to listen to it. There was so much wisdom in there. Appreciate it, bro, man. Always coming through with some fire. Every conversation, man, I truly do enjoy and cherish every conversation that I have with you. And yeah, I can't wait for you guys to listen to it, man. And it is a little different setup today because we did it in the room, right? Like this was the official first podcast interview that I did in my new podcast studio. So we joked around like he was my guinea pig, right? Honestly, guys, I still haven't fully decided where I'm gonna take it as far as like the equipment and stuff for the podcast in house. Obviously, we've done a lot of the digital ones. That I do with people that are out of town, but I do want to get involved a little bit more again with the Lincoln community. So you're going to see some great names coming soon, but can't wait for you guys to listen to it. Before we jump in, man, again, guys, I have a brand new album. And matter of fact, I know by the time this airs, it'll be a little different, but today we just released, tonight actually at midnight, we're going to release another single. So this would be the second single that's out. So we released a couple weeks ago or last week or something, we released Big Goals. That was the name of the single. Tonight at midnight, we're releasing LLC. So by the time you listen to this podcast, it's already out. And who knows? We'll see when I release this podcast. But if it's after a little bit after the summer started already, then we've already dropped the album. If it's a little bit before, then it might still be coming soon. We're dropping it summer. I'm thinking late May, early June. As of right now, I'll have an official date. But yeah, from Generational Curses to Generational Wealth is the name of my new album, man. I'm super excited. All original, everything. From the production to the lyrics, like everything's all original. I got songs in there like the Big Goals, LLC, right? Serial Entrepreneur. We got a song on there called Big Investments. We got self-development, like there's all new tracks. So I cannot wait. Go check it out, man. Follow me on Spotify or anywhere, Apple Music, anywhere you listen to music, I'm there. And check out that album. I cannot wait. For now, check out the singles if it's not out. Otherwise, go check out the full album. But other than that, New Era Lending, hit me up for any hard money loans. The construction company, New Era Construction LLC.net, baby. If you're looking for some work done, whether it's an investment or your own, we can do it. Or build a new house. We can help you with that too. So hit us up for that. And we're looking for new investments. So those of you who are listening, if you have anything that you're selling as far as like an investment, please let me know so we can make a deal. So that's pretty much all I got. Grab a copy of my book, The Power of Being Uncomfortable, and let's get it, baby. With that being said, here is Rob Peinado, baby, from GP Customs. Vámonos. Welcome to the $1 Million Hustle Podcast, baby. Robert Peinado today, man.
Thanks for having me.
I wish we were already recording, bro. Like we've had so many great conversations already. Like it's amazing. But thanks for coming through, man.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Officially, he's the first guest for the podcast. As of right now, I'm still basically deciding which route I'm going to go with what equipment for the in-house ones, but my thing has always been no excuses, get it done.
Dude, this lab is sweet. I wish you guys could see how this thing's all set up, but I mean,
thank you.
Definitely next level.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
New era, next level.
There you go. I love it. But at the beginning of the podcast, dude, I just like to go back to how you guys started. Really, just to even before you guys started, actually, where were you born? And then if you could tell us a little bit of your backstory so people could get to know you.
Yeah. No, I'm born and raised here in Lincoln, Nebraska. My parents are from Venezuela originally. My dad came over here and got his degree and was in computer science. My mom was a teacher for 25 years, retired just recently. Both my parents retired. And I always kind of had that hustle mindset from back in the day. Like even in high school and stuff, I was making like sweatshirts with our high school logo and like our basketball numbers and selling them to kids and stuff like that.
That's dope.
So I knew early on, I think they actually voted me in high school like first person to be a millionaire or whatever. And I thought,
oh shit.
And back then I was like, dude, there's no way. I was like, a million looks like such a big number.
Yeah.
And
that's dope.
But just I guess they must have seen really early on that I was always kind of trying to hustle and
do you stuff. Believe, Rob, that like, so because people ask me this question, I want to hear your feedback. Do you think that you're born like your blood is already like, okay, you're going to be a serial entrepreneur, or do you think that people can learn that? And then a two-part question. The other question would be, do you have like a family member? So like my grandpa was a serial entrepreneur. So like a lot of people push that on me, like, well, you're just like your grandpa, he always doing
for real.
So I want to hear your feedback on those two questions.
I think the hustle is definitely something that you're born with and the entrepreneurial desire to do stuff. But I think anything's possible. You can work it. If I try to be a musician, I work it every single day, eventually I'm going to be a musician, but I think I'm a driven person. But I think it's hard to, if you don't have that hustle, to do it. I know a lot of people that are great business people, but that either fell into something or they got helped up and they don't quite have that grind with kind of getting it out of the mud,
Yeah.
And but I think you gotta look at everything. It's like if I get talking to you and we're talking about buying bricks to build a house, and I say, hey, why don't we, instead of buying this, why don't we just buy a pallet or buy a semi of them and we'll sell the rest and do this and that. It's just, I think really being an entrepreneur, it's something that's probably in you. I don't have a ton of people in my family that were like that. They all worked for places. My grandpa was an accountant, so I guess he had his own place, but it wasn't like he was always trying to do different things and do different ideas.
Okay. And you said something in there that I want to touch a little on, just kind of surrounding yourself with people, because I also believe, because what you said, like there could be somebody that maybe even in music will say, like, I've seen so much talent out there. There's people like in small towns, dude, that sound better. I could put them against any like singer out there, any rapper out there from here in Nebraska, but talent will not get you there, right? Like I truly believe the hustle is like what you said is like working hard and like actually practicing, doing the 10,000 hours, right? In that field, and you become an expert at that point. But also there's people out there that will hang around people that aren't doing much, and they also start doing that, right? Like back in the day, like I was hanging out with people that smoked a lot of weed and I was smoking weed, you know? Now I hang with people that make money. Well, I make money too. So I want to hear your point.
It definitely has to do with your environment. And I think I've been pretty fortunate, with my business to meet a lot of people and then kind of connect with a lot of people like yourself and other friends that I have that are very driven. And they say, hey, we're doing this. And I'm like, well, what if you did this? And maybe we do this together. And that definitely has helped me grow. And like you said, surrounding yourself with like-minded people is really kind of what gets you to the next level. There's always, you can grind really, really hard, but if you're not smart about it, working smarter instead of working harder, that definitely could be a thing that you're lacking to really kind of get you to the next level.
What about, because there's people that believed in you back in the day, like even, we'll take it back to even the high school days. What have you done with people that didn't believe in you, that maybe were friends, or people like that? Like what do you do? And then I think it's like, it gets better for sure, because you like, and I'm going to give you my point first, like you grow up, right? Like you grow, so you become a different person. So a lot of these people, honestly, they give you the scissors for you to kind of move on, which is the best way, honestly. But I want to hear your point. Like, how have you navigated through that?
Yeah. I mean, that's always tough. Like you're always going to have, what you call them haters. You're always going to have haters or the people that think, oh, that's not going to work or this or that. I try and really be a positive person and probably not surround myself with negativity. And, there's always stuff that comes up. It's, you can't do everything perfect. But I think surrounding yourself, starting out every day and saying, I'm going to make today better than yesterday. And kind of like we were talking about earlier, setting lists of stuff that you need to get done and really kind of trying to stay positive about stuff. Because in life and business, nothing's ever going to be perfect. You know that. We got enough. We all have enough business between the both of us that you can't do everything right.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
yeah.
Love it, dude. So let me fast forward a little bit since we kind of got that out of the way there. So were you born here then, or were you born in Venezuela?
I was born here.
Okay,
I've been
parents.
back. Yeah, my parents were born there. I've been
Okay.
back 3 times when I was younger. Maybe 14 was the last time I was back.
Nice.
But beautiful country, definitely a different style of living. We're all I think everybody in the U.S. is immigrants here, but
Yeah.
it's I think we're really fortunate with the stuff we have here compared to
Yeah.
back home.
Yeah, and you only see that when you're there, you know, because like one of the things on my book that I talk about is like coming from like literally no running water, no electricity, which is cool because now when I've gone back, there is like a toilet in the hut
different
of
now,
the house.
right?
You know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's different now.
exactly.
It's
It's a
like-
whole
it's
other
like
world.
21st century now.
Yeah, seriously. So love it. Let's fast forward a little bit though. So how did you end up with GP Customs? Like, was that like a thing that you always thought you wanted, or did it kind of fall on you, or how did that come about?
I was always into cars ever since I was 16. I was like 15. I was putting stereos in my mom's car, and I was like loading up her backseat with trunks. She goes, "Dude, we need groceries." Like, what are you doing with all this stuff? So I didn't know what I was doing, but I learned and I researched, and there wasn't like a lot of internet stuff back then. So it's like, you'd have to figure it out.
And you come from that era too, bro, of like, the Pioneer stereos, like,
Yes,
all
that's what
those
it was.
like,
It was Pioneer stereos with the dolphins on them and all that stuff.
dude,
I
Alpines.
was trying to put little screens in my car, little tiny screens, so I could watch burn DVDs and stuff in there, and that was wild.
Crazy.
It was wild back then.
Good times. But so you just had this
I
love
started
and
doing that, and then I worked my first job. I worked at Super Saver, the grocery store here locally, and then I got a job at a gas station. And then one day, one of the customers that would come through the gas station owned a tint shop. Pro Tint. Shout out to Pro Tint. He's kind of the one that got me started.
That's dope.
And he offered me a job. I went on like a little job shadowing thing, and immediately after the job shadowing said, "You want a job? You got one." So he kind of taught me the ropes. And then my dad said, "Hey, you got to go back to school," because I was in college. And he goes, "You're not going to work at this place for your whole life." He's like, "This is trash. You don't want this kind of life." He's like, "Go back to school." And I was like, "I kind of like doing this." So I go back to school, and then a couple of my car dealers that I had relationships with, all this stuff's all about relationships. They called me up and they said, "Hey, open up your own shop and we'll give you all our business." And I wasn't even looking for it really. I was thinking I was going back to school. And so I opened up a shop. I didn't know what I was doing at all because I didn't really do any of the work at ProTint. I was more like clerical and dealing with customers and cashing people out.
Like managing type.
I was the manager, yeah. And I was like 21 years old, but I knew a little bit about window tinting, but I'll tell you what I learned real quick. Doing it on your own, and shoot, by now I tinted 10, 20,000 cars, but back then
it has to be more than that.
probably a lot more than that. But back then I didn't know, and I learned how to do it because I was on my own, and you learn from your mistakes, and then it just got bigger and bigger. And then one car dealer says, "Hey, I got another buddy. He wants stuff done," and then they said, "Hey, can you put in a flip down monitor?" And I remember this. It took me all day to put in a flip down monitor, and my average ticket back then was like $100 on Window Tints or whatever it was.
Yeah,
the monitor was like $600. And I did it one day. I was like, "I'm rich. $600 in one day. This is great."
Dude, life-changing though,
Back
like
then I was 21, 22, but you didn't think about overhead.
Would you say that was that moment too that you realized like, man, like I could fucking do more with my time? And
it's exactly like you said. It's about the hustle. Back then I was like, because I would just not say no. I was just hitting windows, and one of the dealers said, "Hey, we need a flip down monitor. Can you do it?" And I looked it up online, and it cost me $200. And I was like, in my head, I was like, "Oh, it'll take me a couple hours." It took me all day, but you got that done. I was like, "Well, I could do 10 of these a week now, and I could just start offering a service." And then it happened with remote starts, and then it happened with wheel painting, then it happened with wraps. And then, we slowly moved to a bigger facility, hired one person because it was just me. Then I hired one person. Then I hired two people. Then I hired three people.
Let's touch on that real quick. When did you know it was time to hire? I think I know the answer, but I want to touch on that because there's a lot of people out there that like as we sit here, your shop is running, you're making money, not just your shop, but all the other investments, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. Same here, right? Like,
yeah.
I probably like today we have probably some concrete going. A basement is getting finished. I have another house that's getting painted. I have a loan doc, all these different moving parts, but with the right people. So when did you know it was time for you to do that? Because I think this will help a lot of the audience that we have, solopreneurs at that point. So I want to hear what you did exactly.
That's like the hardest part. And you can probably interact with this too, that like that first leap, you don't know when is the right time to hire somebody, because you're like, God, I'm making X amount. And you're like, if I hire somebody, they're going to take like half of that. And it's not about taking half of that. We weren't making a lot of income then. Yeah. We had to pay electricity, rent, insurance, all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to take a big drastic pay cut. And, it's to the point where I had so much work, I couldn't get it all done. And, I would be there working. I still grind like I grinded back then from 7 a.m. till I was working back then till midnight or 1 in the morning doing stuff. I can't do it now because I have kids, but I'm still there till 8 or 9 every night.
Yeah.
But I remember it was crazy back then. It was like the hours were from sun up till you can't work anymore.
Yeah, no, love it. Seriously, no, seriously, dude.
But that's what you got to do, and then that's like something's got to kind of change. You better hire somebody, and then you hire somebody, and then other people see kind of what you're doing, and they're like, hey, can I be a part of this team? I'm like, well, yeah, we could do you part-time and then get you full-time, and then it just kind of gets.
And I would say freedom is basically why we do what we do at the end of the day. And it's crazy because, there's days, right? Like there's days where you're like, hold on, I did this for freedom. What am I doing here, right? Like, but I think we can't forget that was the reason why, because what you said earlier, like you make that much in a day and it creates freedom. But I want to hear your point on that, because it's such a hard line, guys. Like it doesn't get, or hold on, let me back up. It does get easier, but I think you do get smarter along the way, right?
And your problems change, or your challenges change. The challenge that you had when you first started about, hey, can I get this done on time, is not the same anymore. Now it's like, hey, I got 12 guys. I need to make sure we're busy with the work, or hey, we're going to do this big job. We need to buy this equipment, and are we going to use this equipment more than once? Do we need to rent it? Should we just buy it and invest in it? So the challenges change, but you still have the same fundamental things. I need to get business in the door. I need to do good work. I need to keep my customers happy so they refer more people to me. And it's kind of I tell people business isn't hard. It's just about keeping people happy and doing good business, and the referrals and the repeat business comes.
So true, man. So true. It's funny because I heard this on like a conference or something, like they just said business is just making people happy. Yeah. And you just said that right there. So I love it, man. As a fan, as a supporter, dude, as your friend, I want to tell you that to me, like especially during that time when it was happening, Pimp My Ride was like the shit, right?
That was hot.
So as a friend, I want to ask you that as a fan, because to me, that's what GP Customs was, when you first started. I was like, ooh, shit, we have that in Lincoln, right? Yeah. Like, did that show mean anything to you?
We'll be right back. Before we continue, go subscribe to Billy Dha Kidd YouTube. That is Billy, DhaKid. Also, go follow Billy Dha Kidd Music on Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, and everywhere else music is available. And now, back to this great episode. Let's go.
Hopping out the two, we're number 2, feel like Kobe, though I'm winning, need to do more. Mama sorry, college wasn't for me. Street smart, no degree, just like Kobe. Self-made boss with a suit like a mogul. I'm the new era. You see it on my.
I used to watch that show all the time. I went on a binge probably 2-3 years ago, right? I rewatched all the episodes again. Yeah, we were doing crazy stuff.
Seriously.
And back then when I first started, I wasn't doing all the stuff that we're probably doing now. And I saw that. I was like, man, maybe one day I can do that stuff. And I don't realize it because I'm doing so many different things, and we do multiple businesses. But we are doing that stuff every day. I have customers that come in constantly for full crazy transformations. And it's just you can't find that in the Midwest.
Yeah, exactly.
I took a lot of the vibes and the ideas I saw from shops on the West Coast, a little bit of stuff from Florida, but a lot of big shops on the West Coast, and I tried to bring that customer service and feeling to the Midwest, where when a customer comes in, you can give them the wheels, the wrap, the tint, one shot, and give them a nice atmosphere where he can relax and hang out while you're doing some of this stuff. And hey, if they need a ride, let me give you a ride home. And you know, keep them updated with pictures and do all that stuff. So there's just a lot of little things that we kind of found a niche in.
That's so dope, bro. Because one thing you said in there that I believe is like when I started rapping, especially because now you see a little more rappers, which is cool because that's what keeps the thing alive, right? But like back in the day, I felt like literally I could tell you the 3 rappers that were in Lincoln, right? And it felt like you were rapping over a graveyard, guys. Like that's what it felt like because it was just so new. Nobody was doing it, or you know, maybe 1 or 2 had done it, tried to. And anyways, it's a virgin region, is what I'm trying to say. And I think there's a lot of opportunity out here.
Yes.
You know, there even look at how many, like even just fast food restaurants, you know, that we could bring a franchise. So maybe we're gonna have to talk about them and bring a Jack in the Box out here.
Well, don't get me going on that. I'm already on it. My wife put the kibosh on it. She goes, "We are not doing a restaurant."
I know that same here. My wife did too.
I bring it up 2 or 3 times. I'm like, the food truck or a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like, we are not doing a restaurant.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody that's in that industry.
Yeah, restaurant business is hard.
Yeah.
My good friend Franco's got a restaurant. He kills it in Grand Island, and you know, Goody, they do really well.
Shout out to Goody too. I'm gonna have him on the podcast here soon. It's a grind, and everything is a grind. But I've also, my wife feels the same way. She's like, I love food and all that, but we're not doing a restaurant.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for those guys. I think that could be a really good business. It just you got to have the right people in place, and you got to have a really good product. And I think all those guys have really good products.
Yeah, seriously, that's why they are where they're at. So true. So let's fast forward a little bit now. So all like I said, I've seen your growth, and you know, from like a smaller shop all the way to where you're at now, right? Like, and everything in between. Now you're doing more than just the GP Customs, though. Can you tell us a little bit more about what happened? At what point did you decide, hey, I'm going to expand on this dealership, or you know, or whatever else you did, and then all the way to the real estate now?
Yeah. Well, I believe kind of like you got to always kind of keep growing, keep expanding, you know, multiple sources of income. And we started, what would have been, that would have been 2017. I was doing a lot of repairs for car dealers where they say, hey, we got this Toyota Camry, the bumper's a little scratched, the headlight's broken, can you fix this? I said, yeah, I'll fix it. Order up a headlight, you know, and then paint the bumper, send it out. And I'm like, dude, why don't I just do this for myself? At that point, I'm like, why don't I do this? And I love cars. So I go, why don't I do this for myself? And then also we would have so many customers that would come to me and say, hey, Rob, I'm buying this new Silverado, you know, my old Silverado that you guys lifted, put the wheels on, tinted it. I want to sell this and get the maximum for it. Do you have a customer for this? So at that point I would call, you know, I'd call you up and say, hey, are you interested? Are you looking for a vehicle, Billy, or something like that? Or I was like, hey, I got a good deal on the Silverado. I know you're kind of talking about buying a vehicle. You interested? I can broker this deal for you.
Wow.
I was almost like a kind of a little real estate agent.
For cars, seriously,
right?
Yeah.
And at that point I was like, let's just open up a dealership.
Dude, that's awesome. So like a good problem fell in your lap, and you were able to basically be like, you know what? Here, that's an opportunity right there.
Yeah, I was already just doing it for customers, just word of mouth. And then I'm like, why don't I just open up a car dealership and put a nice showroom, and we have all this exterior storage. And, you know, like right now, yesterday, we had a Hellcat delivered from a customer in Omaha that we helped him buy a brand new Bronco for his daughter. He goes, hey, sell my Hellcat for me. We're helping another customer sell a Corvette. And then I have another guy that just called me today, goes, hey, I'm dropping off an Audi for you. Get it sold for me. So it's just, we make very easy solutions to people that do business with us already. And I think that's why we are where we are. I make it very easy for my customers to do business with me. I realize a lot of our customers are executive and high level CEOs of very big businesses. They don't have the time to waste.
Yeah.
And I don't, I offer a service to them at a very reasonable rate. I say, hey, just bring it to me. I'll take care of fixing the dents. I'll take care of fixing all the little scratches on it. I'll get it sold for you. I get a check to you right away. Bada bing, bada boom.
That's dope, man. That's dope. And it is cool. Basically a lot of business owners that, you know, because of all the services that you offer anyways, are things that we need, right? Like, so I love that. And then where did the real estate thing come in? Because we've been I feel like the last year, probably 6 months at least with me, like we've gone on the phone a few times. Like you've been killing it with the real estate stuff now.
The real estate's been going well, and I think I had a lot of friends like yourself. Shout out my buddy Logan does real estate. My buddy Kurt does it, and I felt it actually was almost like I felt bad because real estate guys, cars are like a drug, and real estate guys love cars. So they would constantly bring me cars to do. And then, I know shout out Logan always gives me crap. He's like, when are you going to give me some business? I give you so much business. And I've done a lot of cars. He's a great customer. Same thing with my buddy Kurt. And,
he has some dope ass cars too, man. I have them on social media. And some nice ass whips.
He's got some cool whips. And I was like, well, let me know about this real estate thing. And then, he does some wholesaling and my buddy Kurt does a lot of sales and stuff. So I kind of got into that a little bit, and they both helped me get my feet wet doing that. And I was able to get some deals. And I'm like, hey, these numbers make sense. And they kind of taught me the game. And then I was like, well, this is another great business too. This is something you can get money while you sleep,
Yeah.
And then we kind of started doing the rental thing and acquiring properties and doing more and more, and it's been going pretty well.
Yeah, and now
and learned a lot from you too. I learned a lot from you too. So
it's funny because I do hard money lending, right? Yeah. And he was not having it at the beginning. He's like, hold on, you're getting this much interest? Yeah. Hold on. And it's like, all right, let me explain it to you, right? Yeah. And then obviously all great conversations though, and I cherish those too, man, because you learn. I'm always like I'm here to learn. Like I'm a student, dude. There was a millionaire on stage, and there was a billionaire as an audience taking notes from that millionaire. Like
there's levels to it.
Yeah, like it does it. And what I'm saying, and I'm in no comparing us or anything. What I'm saying, guys, is like I've gone to lunches with like a 15-year-old in the past, right? Like where they're like, hey man, can I take you out for lunch? I just want to hear your story, and I go to see what I learned from them. Like it doesn't matter. Like I think you have to be a sponge, and the more you do that, then the more you grow, and then your business just does it itself. I want to point out something real quick, Rob, because you mentioned somewhere in there that like growing your business, and those of you who are listening, and I want to hear your perspective on this because it's a very simple like analogy, we'll call it, but it kind of blew me away a little bit because a lot of people say like, oh, I'm content with my business, right? And it's okay, right? Yeah. Be happy. But at the end of the day, every year I always focus on growth, like growing my businesses. And I never realized until, like I said, it kind of hit me in this small analogy of like inflation is going like this every single day, every year, right?
It's never going down.
So if you're content with your business, right? Those of you who are watching, like you're right here, you're content, you're happy, but little do you see, like you're actually losing money at the end, even if it's just a business that you're content with, you have the same customers, like you don't care about growing it. At the end of the day, I think that right there should be the reason why you have to grow this business, right? And I want to hear because that analogy just hit me really hard where it's like, man, so if I'm not even doing it I want more money, or obviously money, like, of course, that's the motive, right? But also that's the whole point, is to beat inflation. So if you grow your business, then inflation, you're going to stay up and ahead. So I want to hear a little bit of your perspective on that analogy too, because it kind of hit me pretty hard. I was like, it's little simple, but I'm like, man, that's so true.
It's a sad thing to say, but I have seen over the years, knock on wood, we've survived the test of time, but I've seen a lot of business over the years that were great businesses. Like when I grew up, that were car audio shops, mechanic shops. And I'm like, dude, these guys are the big dogs. And they've closed down because you just can't stay content with where you're at. A lot of guys are like, hey, we're okay. We're doing 2 cars a day. We're just going to keep doing this. The owner does okay. His employee gets paid, and we're just going to keep doing 2 cars a day. Well, like you said, inflation gets up. Mm-hmm. So sooner or later, those employees, they need a little bit more income to cover their lifestyle.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the same thing with us. Taxes only keep getting more and more.
Yeah.
I remember the taxes on my facility, what they used to be 4 or 5 years ago. All of a sudden, the tax man came and assessed it way higher. I'm like, well, now instead of needing 100 cars to cover my taxes, I need 150 just to cover the taxes. Yeah. So just stuff keeps getting more expensive.
Yeah.
So, but I've always been a firm believer on keep my foot on the gas.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes my wife gives me crap. She's like, maybe we need to slow down a little bit. You're just always doing different stuff. I go, sweetie, it's one of those things where you got to keep up keep up with everything.
Exactly.
If you slow down, you just stay content. Like you said, you're actually probably losing money.
Yeah. And that's why real estate is like a game changer, because it actually like beats inflation every time, right? Or it at least keeps up with it. You just said like your shop, that's it, keeping up with inflation. So love it, man. Love it. And then one question that I had for you, because I love cars, dude. Like, I truly do. Like that right there will be my car that I'm going to bring to you, dude. In real life, it's a green Lambo. I'm going to get that baby here soon. That's the big trophy that I'm going for.
We're leaving to go pick up.
There you go. Fuck it, let's go. But I love cars. But you already know, as a businessman, right? Like, and you probably know where this question is heading, is the worst investment, quote unquote. But I've also seen you got a limo thing going, like where you could actually make cars actually make money, right? Like even the Lambo guys, like I could probably easily throw it on a website and have it rented here and there and stuff like that. So I just want to hear, and I'm thinking more for people that, should I get a loan for this car? Should I buy it cash? Like what's your perspective on that?
So, my situation is a little different. I think it'd be different for you too. I think it'd be different for every entrepreneur, but a car is a tool for me. A lot of the business that I have is a lot of supercar business and exotic car business. And, I got a good friend, Jesse, that just got a McLaren, and he kind of gets it where, it'd be tough to break into that market and connect with those customers if you didn't have something that was on their level. So, what I drove today, I drove a C8 Corvette today. It's a great car, bought it at my car lot. I'm probably going to keep that one for myself. But I use that because all the C8 owners that come into my shop, I'm like, hey, this is mine. It's got wheels on it. It's got an exhaust on it. It's got the window protection. We have 3 C8s in the shop right now. And the C8 guys love modifying their cars, but they're like, well, what's the exhaust going to sound like? Is it going to be too loud? Is it going to be too quiet? I'm like, let me go take it to show it to you. And he's like, oh, shoot, look at those wheels. I'm like, I can get you those wheels too. And that's the same thing like with my McLaren. When we go to car shows in Omaha, Supercar Saturday, they line up all the cars, the really expensive supercars right up front. So when you're in that, you're almost in that club.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important for you to get a supercar, because when you're in that club, you make the connections with all the other owners. So it's like, I've met, every time I go to that event, I get 2 or 3 leads from customers that are like, hey, you have this car? I just bought this car. And obviously you have a shop, and I can trust you to work on my car because I've seen the work you do and I've seen what kind of car you have.
Wow. I love that, dude, because it's literally, I was just telling my wife the same thing. Maybe I was like, yeah, babe, we got to get this Lambo because
That's how my wife.
We keep telling ourselves this, right? No. But it's funny because it's so true, because I think of like, and not that I need to do that, but like how many fake coaches, for example, are on Instagram, right? Like they rented the Lambo and it's like, what if I said, hey, no, look, I'm pulling up in my Lambo. Like I can actually teach you some shit on how to obtain your stuff. And I truly believe that, even with music, right? Like if when I get my Lambo, like I'll cover with it, you know what I mean? Like people all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, they believe in the product and the brand and the stuff that you're doing.
They were like, that Billy guy, and you really knew what he was talking about. Like, I mean, But it's one of those things where it's, people in life, you can fake a lot of stuff. You can't fake having the car. Yes, you can rent it and stuff, but I mean, you can't fake having a car. That's a sign, not a sign of success. That shows that you've worked hard to obtain that asset.
Trophies. Yeah. I call them trophies.
No, you gotta have some, but it's just like you in the business you're in, you have a beautiful home here. So it's like when people see that, they're like, oh, he really knows what he's doing, because look at the home he has. He obviously worked hard for it, and he was able to obtain this. Same thing with a car. When they pull up to the shop and the McLaren's out front or the C8's out front, they're like, oh, wow, he obviously knows what he's doing. That's why he bought this.
Yeah. Wow.
But people look at it always, like I said, I try and say positive. People are always like, he's charging too much. And it's like, we don't even charge that much. It's just the fact that we have so many different streams of income, and B, relationships where we've been able to obtain a lot of this stuff.
And that's one thing you're good at too, is kind of helping people out. Like we've done some stuff where, I've taken my trucks to you, or like this last truck that I took to you, like you've done some wheels for me. Like there's been some stuff you've done. And that's what's nice, is that you're a business owner, so you get it. Like it's just such a thin line, guys, because, even with my construction company or any business, like it's crazy. There's actually a market out there for everything. And I'm going to keep it 100, like even like I'm an investor myself. So me included, like damn investors with a construction company, because I get it. Like, it's all numbers. You got to make the numbers work, right? Like, but I've steered away, that was at the very beginning, and I've steered away a little bit from that. And now I'm getting into other markets, an interior design, that you send the bill and they're like, oh, all right, cool, approved. You know what I mean? And it's like, wow, like, and I'm assuming you deal with that a lot too, it's like, act your wage, right? Like,
for sure. Exactly.
Don't buy that Lambo. Don't buy that Lambo if you're not.
if you're not gonna, be able to shell out when stuff comes.
Yeah. So I would love to hear a little more on that too, on how you kind of navigate with different customers. And I'm assuming right away all the experience that you have, you already know the levels of customers that you get.
You hit the nail on the head. So obviously this is a podcast to motivate people and show people different things, but I don't usually bring out my cars all the time. It's like if I go to a supercar event, I'll take the car out. And if I drive it on a Friday, I'll take the Corvette out. And I know a customer's coming in with a Corvette, or, my daily driver's a Tesla, because we have a very big Tesla market. But even if a guy calls me with the smallest Tesla, like a Model 3, I don't tell him, hey, I have a Cybertruck. I'm just like, hey, I'm a Tesla owner as well. We specialize in Tesla. Those are just tools to me. But like you said, it's one of those things where I don't try to flex on those people. I want to get them as a customer. I just want to show them that we can understand and we can take care of their car very well, and we specialize in their car. But you never want to tell a customer, I have a nicer car than you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And that's not the case, but I'm just
for sure.
Like you said, it's a slippery slope, a fine line. Of gaining the trust from your customer, and letting them know that you're an expert in the field, but also not making them scratch their head and go, oh, Jesus, he's got kind of a lot of vehicles there.
Yeah. And that's one thing I love about you too, is that you've kept up with the time. I truly believe that you have to. I've heard it all right, like, oh, social media, like, I don't need that for my business. And matter of fact, if you're not doing social media, you don't have a business, like, nowadays. And I'll say it straight up like that, because it's that important.
It's huge.
And that one I admire, like I said, every time I see your stories, and follow him if you haven't yet, like, your stories, dude, literally, I like pin my ride. Like, I'm always like, all right, let's see what good shit he has going on today, man. Like some crazy dope ass shit that you have going on. But let's go ahead and move up a little bit. I want to ask you, because I think it's a very important question. You got your beautiful family, like, all this, you as a person, right? Like, what is happiness to you? What does happiness mean?
Happiness to me is seeing my family comfortable, being able to do stuff with my wife and kids, and, not have to worry about, shoot, is the card going to go through, or shoot, is the shop going to burn down if I'm gone? It's kind of like you said, that's the goal for an entrepreneur, for freedom. It's, as you know, for an entrepreneur, it's not always like that. Not every day is going to be like that. There's times where you may have a trip and you're like, I got to deal with this problem. But, happiness for me is obviously trying to give my kids a better life than I had growing up. And I didn't have a bad life. I had a great life. My mom and dad provided a great life for me. But, a lot of little struggles you have when you come growing up, you want your kids to do better than you, and to maybe set them up for the future where, you still want them to grind. There's a lot of people that don't have their kids grind. I still want them to grind, but to give them a better head start than what I had.
Yeah. I love that. Love it. Because at the end of the day, that's why we do what we do, man. As much as, sometimes, like, it doesn't make sense at the time, right? Like, we're grinding, we get home late or whatever, but that's essentially why we do what we do. And I do want to ask you this, since your family's from Venezuela. Like, I think it's a heavy question that I've throughout because when I first started, okay, I'm gonna make some money, right? Make some cash. I'm gonna rap and change my life, right? Like, it was for my kids, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna help my mom, my kids. Like, I'm gonna. But then you get to this level, thank God, right? Like, it's a blessing, where you also now start questioning, okay, I need to teach these kids, I have teenagers. So like, teaching them, like, hey, like, just so you know, it's not normal for you to drive that. It's not normal for you. Like, you have to understand how to do it. And then also, like, I have a whole album, dude, and I can't wait for you to hear it. It's From Generational Curses to Generational Wealth is the name of the project. And just like, that's the stuff I'm constantly, like, that's drilling deep, my kids, right? Like,
generational curses, generational.
Yeah. Thank you. And I'm drilling that on my kids. It's like, hey, like, I did all this, right? Like I'm bloodied up. Like I made this fight happen now because right now my daughter's 17, so she's getting kind of those questionnaires of like, for any scholarships and stuff like that, and there's certain ones that it's like, well, no, those are for kids that don't have their dad in their life or whatever, and totally understandable. So she's like, well, what are, she'll question like, I live a good life, right? Like, and I was like, yeah, but actually, you have a lot more pressure probably than most people because we have expectations for you.
Yeah.
You have to take what we built and carry it on now, and not just financially.
You can't just go to Target and do a 9 to 5 now.
Exactly. Yeah. So she was kind of like, man. So, and I want to hear, because I know you have kiddos that they're smaller, but I want to hear what have you thought about what will be the teachings that you're gonna do, because I think. With my kids, it's like, well, no, I'm going to teach you how to fish, but I'm not going to give you the fish. Right. And of course, yeah, we're going to help them. We're going to, help like financially, of course, but there has to be a line. And again, I'm just coming here like, that's where I'm at, dude.
I thought you were going to give me some softballs. You hit me with all the hard questions over. You didn't prepare me for
$1 million hustle, baby.
Yeah,
let's go.
Prepare me for this. That's how I like it, though.
Let's go.
Yo, we'll be right back to this great episode of the $1 Million Hustle podcast. Before we continue, I want you to go grab a copy of my book, The Power of Being Uncomfortable. It is out on Amazon. It is out on Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com, Target.com, and everywhere else books are available. The great news, guys, is you could go to BillyDhaKidd.com and grab an autographed copy. That is right. I'm going to mail you an autographed copy right now. Audiobook is also available on Audible, and everywhere else audiobooks are available. So go listen to it. Go grab yourself an autographed copy. And I'll see you on the other side, baby. And now back to this great episode of the $1 Million Hustle podcast.
No, I think about that a lot with my kids. Especially my oldest is kind of tough. He's like, Dad, I want a tractor, and Dad, I want this. I mean, he's got like 3 or 4 those Power Wheel cars. They just bought him the Cyber Quad. Now he goes, I want a tractor for my birthday. I'm like, dude, do you need all this stuff? And I tell him, I go, Dad has to go to work every day and deal with a lot of stuff for you to get this kind of stuff. And you want to teach him at an early age. But thank the Lord, he always works with me. I go outside, he goes, Dad, let me help you. And we're loading stuff, we're loading trailers, doing stuff. And he's always willing to help. But that's the toughest part. Like, you want to give your kids a better life.
Yeah.
But you don't want to give it to them on a silver platter, because then they end up being, excuse my language, being little shits. And they don't want to do that. They just expect all that.
Yeah.
So that's the toughest part with kids. And for me, I guess time will tell, because my kids are 4 and 2. But I'm definitely making them work. Like, I'm making them sweep the floors. I'm making them clean the crap out of the house we just bought. Making them power wash, the stuff. But that's a hard line. I've seen it both ways. I have friends and I have other customers and business owners that I see them give their kids a ton of stuff, and then the kids don't ever want to work. And I'm like, well, they're definitely not going to work as hard as you did. And I know those guys are hard workers. And they've built good businesses. And I see, I've had friends that have, wealthy parents, have had everything that they could possibly want, and they don't want to work.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things, like you said, it's got to be in you. But I've also known people that, have got a lot handed to them and taken it to the next level. So it's just one of those things, like we talked about before.
Yeah.
You've got to have it in you a little bit. Going back to what we first talked about, I think you are probably born with it. I think it can be learned.
You hear it first. You heard it here first, guys. Let's go.
I mean, and if you're not, you can hang out with me and you, and we can teach it to you. But you got to have the desire to do it a little bit.
Because there's and it's, I don't know, it's just a very deep question, because it's such a thin line too. It's of like, I tell my girls too. It's like, at the end, do what makes you happy, right? Like, and I've given them certain rules too, where it's like, hey, I don't care if you work at Scooters, for all I care for, but make sure that you invest, right? Like, you're doing this on the side. Like, there's certain rules that I have for them. Like, if you don't want to go to college, then don't. And that, those of you who are listening, it's a very, there's people that are like, wow, why are you saying that, right? Like,
dude, I talk about that exact same thing, because I never finished college. I have 18 credit hours left. And, but I think I've done pretty well for myself.
Yeah, for sure.
But, my mom goes, my dream was always that you finish college. But I'm like, in this day and age, there's a lot of people that don't finish college and are entrepreneurs and do way better than you can do getting a degree. And
they hire the people with the degrees.
Yeah, exactly. The people with the degrees work for them.
Yeah. Wow.
And I always thought that too. When I was in college, I was like, I want to graduate. I want to get a job where I put a suit on and sit in the corner office and work my way up. And now I'm like, dude, freedom is going in a t-shirt, throwing on a watch and some gym shorts.
Chanclas on.
Chanclas on, and you're out the door. Nobody can say nothing to you, you know?
So true, man. So true.
That's freedom, having the guy in the Ferrari pull up to you in your gym shorts, and he's
Yeah.
trying to do business with you, you know?
That's so funny. So funny, man. Because, I've also met with, like, people that, are suited up, and it's like, I'm this and that, like my degree or this or that. And to me, it's like,
are you? No.
I'm just on my chanclas, dude. I got my shorts with a little paint from from the flip that we just sold,
exactly.
like crazy, man. Crazy.
I actually remember that too. My first customer, because I used to always think that the guy would have to come in a suit and tie to be a successful person, be a good customer. And the guys that would come in suit and ties were driving old beat up cars. And the guy that came in a Ferrari or Lamborghini was literally in a tank top with his hair messy and
so crazy,
sunglasses on. And like you said, chanclas. If you guys don't know chanclas,
sandals,
sandals, and they just come and throw you the keys and say, "Hey, this is what I want done." And that's still today my best, most successful customers just wear whatever, come in and that's freedom.
Yeah. Love it. So what does like the next 5 years, 10 years look like for you? Like, where do you see yourself?
Having a house like this and doing a podcast.
Well, that's the nice thing is knowing people. So let's go. Maybe I'll just have you be the co-host.
Yeah, there we go. No, I want to step up our real estate game. I got some goals that I want to hit for rentals and stuff. And then, I've kind of been dipping my feet into the flips, and by the way, this is a great guy to hit up if you need some hard money. He helped me out. Real estate's a tricky game. It's like you think, you save and you put enough away and you have great credit and you could buy X amount, but then a good deal comes along and you're like, well, I'm working on 3 flips right now, and then you gotta. I'm giving you the free plug.
There you go.
And then I was like, I gotta call Billy. I'm like, this is too good a deal to pass up. And then it just is changing. It's a very exciting industry.
Yeah, literally.
And I think it's about seeing transformations for me. It's like I buy a little crappy house and you rehab it, and you make it look new, and you make it look pretty.
Because it's the same with cars, essentially.
It's just like what we do with cars.
Yeah,
it's just the cars are a lot smaller scale.
Yeah.
A lot smaller profit.
Yeah,
but and that's what I always loved about my industry with cars is that customers that come to me, you sit and you have an hour or 2 hour consultation. They become your friend.
Yeah,
you end up texting you and you want to go out to eat and hey, we got this. We're going on this trip. You want to come with us? And then they want their car done and hooked up. And when they come and get it, just seeing their expression when they see it. I just had a customer text me to come pick up his Tesla that we did a ton of stuff to, and just come and see it. They just ear to ear smile and they give you the dub. Like, man, this is sick. And it's just, and then to even make it a little bit more, you ask me what's happiness to you is when I sit in my car and I see him drive by or something. And I'm like, that's sick. We did that.
Wow. Yeah. I love that. Yeah, that's rewarding.
Yeah,
like that.
Very rewarding.
Yeah, I love it.
Very rewarding.
And I think I heard this years ago. Like, and I try to live up to it. Is like always leave things better than how you found them. And I even go as far as even saying not just things but people, right? Like leave people better than how you found them. Especially nowadays, man. There's so much mental stuff going on, and so many people and lost people, right? Like, and that's truly why I do this podcast, right? Like, I'm truly hoping that somebody hears that one line that's gonna motivate them to do it. And it doesn't have to be, okay, I'm gonna go buy a green Lambo, right? Like, it could just be, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get a better job and take care of my family. Like, that's what I'm doing this podcast for. At the end of the day,
or I'm gonna buy my first flip, or I'm gonna do this. It's like,
and then of course,
there's possible. It's like if you're on the fence about doing it, and I don't know if I should do it. It's like, take it from us. There's a lot of things that we probably thought maybe we shouldn't do or we couldn't do, and we took that chance, and it worked. And that's why we're able to, be at the level that we're at. The things we do.
How do you deal with stress?
I was just about to touch on
because I feel like, you know what? Fuck all that success shit, right?
I was just about to say,
we deal with a lot of shit, guys. Like, I just want you guys to know this shit's not easy. Like, if you're going to start something and you're not willing to work for 3 to 5 years hard, like super hard, don't even start. Like, straight up, don't even just stick to Burger King or I don't know. I'm just being like Starbucks. Straight up. Like, I'm sorry, but
it's true. It ain't for the weak. It ain't for the weak. And that's what I was about to touch about when you're talking about mental stability and how being, mentally tough. There's times where the stress can hit you between all the businesses. Hey, this has not happened to us, thank God, but this car got crashed and this house, this pipe burst.
Yeah.
And then, hey, we sold a car to a customer and the motor blew up. Well, some of those things have happened to us.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's what separates, I always say, the men from the boys.
Mm.
And it's not even that. That's what separates an entrepreneur, somebody that's successful, from somebody that caves and fails. Because there's really, in business, there's going to be hard things that come to you. And it's just how you take those things and how you react and how you overcome those things are really what sets a good business person apart from, just somebody there
every
for a
day.
check or,
Yeah.
an everyday guy. Yeah.
And even if you are just at a check right now, guys, like I've always thought to myself, like, working at the call center, I was like, hey, I'm going to be the top salesperson in that month, or the top is like, do the best that you can. Like, and I can guarantee you that Rob did the same shit. Like when he was just starting out working for somebody else, like you were the best at that position, right?
I remember my boss told me, he goes, what are you doing here? We closed at 5. I was there at 5:30. And I go, I'm just sweeping the floors, getting ready for tomorrow. He goes,
wow,
get out of here and go home. And I would do that every night. It wasn't my business.
Yeah.
I probably wasn't even getting paid, but I just did it because I knew it had to be done. And that's still at my job. I always tell people my guys give me crap like, you're just in your office all the time. But I'm like, all the estimates,
if they only knew,
and the building, all that stuff. But I'm like, I come in on the weekend, take out the trash, and I have to sweep the floors, and I used to have to clean my own bathrooms.
Yeah.
Now we're fortunate enough we have people that do that for me. But it's just.
But you're not scared to go do it if you had to, right?
Like, I'll do it again if I have to.
Exactly. And that's that. Like you said earlier, that's what separates where you're at and the stuff that you got going.
Yeah.
Love it, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Deep shit, man. Deep shit.
We did that podcast too about telling people the tough part of business is us all the entrepreneurs. We deal with that. I mean, I'm the first to admit my wife knows it, that I don't know why I'm saying this on TV, but I was like, I get in depressed states too.
Oh, dude, for sure.
Like,
for sure.
God, I got to get this done, and this is all messed up, and I got to deal with this. And
we're human, man.
That's mentally taxing on people. And
I will say, shameless plug, or actually, fuck it, a plug here, like the Get Uncomfortable Mastermind, dude. That it's a group we meet every Thursday, dude. Winners and they're millionaires, like people killing it. Like there were people that came in that weren't millionaires yet, but they had a great business. We took it to $1 million, business. It is dope, dude, to meet with those people and have these conversations. Because every Thursday, dude, it's like, hey, well, this is what happened, and then you don't feel alone at that point because you're like, man, like, yeah, this is how business is, right? So, anyways, I just want to throw that in there because I remember when I first started, it was very lonely. I would say, like, you can't go to a lot of people and be like, $50,000 there. They're like, what? 50,000? What?
You can't talk to your employees about that. You can't talk to the people you do about that. It's tough. It's lonely. I'm saying it's lonely at the top.
Yeah.
No, we're definitely not at the top. I'm not. I'm not at the top, but it's sometimes it's lonely.
Your office is at the top.
Yeah. So. It's tough to talk to the people about that.
Yeah. No, it's a serious.
Nobody can help you with those problems.
And I hate to bring it up, but even how many have actually taken their own life? That we're entrepreneurs. So. Like, guys, like, reach out. Like, I guarantee you that, like, you reach out to Rob, like, if you're a business owner, and this is a whole other level now, or reach out to me. Let's go have lunch. Like, there's way more to life than what you're going through, right? Like the legal stuff or, money. Like, it gets crazy. Yeah, it gets crazy, man. Dealing with your employees or, customers. Like you said, something happens that maybe directly wasn't your fault, but we have to take accountability every single time as business owners. It's tough. It's a tough, you got to have tough skin at the end of the day, but that's why we're also here because, I also believe that God gives you that, right? Like he gives you that. Exactly. Yeah. And people I guarantee you, like you have changed lives. Maybe people that you don't even know directly, right? That they saw what you've done and like, man, so that at the end of the day, that's what matters. But do you have anything more to add about the whole entrepreneurship and mental stuff? Because I think it is a very important point to.
I think I've been thinking about that for a long time, just because, I'm lucky I have a great support system.
For sure.
I have other friends in the business that are like, check on me. One of my best friends, Kurt's like, hey, how you doing today with real estate stuff? How's your mind going and stuff? Because he just knows I'm racing all the time and I'm doing different stuff.
Yeah.
And my wife supports me a lot, but I think there should be kind of a group for that.
Yeah.
In a way, I guess you have a mastermind group for that, where you could just, like you said, you can meet and just tell people, hey, this is the kind of crap I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Just a support group for that.
For sure.
But that's the thing that people I don't think ever talk about.
Yeah.
In business, they see your highs and they say, oh, that guy's got that, and that guy's got that house, and he was able to buy that, but they don't see all the back end stuff that you have to deal with to get to that point, or the headaches that you still have to deal with.
Yeah. And a lot of times there's some challenges, like even actually, so I just upgraded like my recording stuff for my music stuff. And, you know, that's why I'm excited about this album, dude, because it was all recorded in a week or two with all my new stuff. Dude, the first like couple weeks of having my new equipment, I had to relearn it, right? And yes, I do have a couple buddies, you know, at my engineer in Cali, you know, like that I can reach out to. But at the end of the day, like, I could have easily been like, all right, well, I don't know how to work this thing, right? Like even today, dude, setting up, I told you straight up, I'm like, all right, well, this is the first in person, and we'll do it. You know, we'll get it done. I think that's another separation, right? Like you separate yourself by actually not giving up, right? Like not quitting and knowing that, and it's tough. It's tough, like you said, because there's some days where you're like, man, you know, all this shit happened, and you have to bring that tiny little drop of like motivation to yourself and be like, dude, there's going to be another great day tomorrow.
That's what an entrepreneur is, man. You wake up, you put your pants on, and you get rolling, whether you want to or whether you don't want to. Mm-hmm. You got to do it.
Love it. And one quick segment that I just made up right now, by the way. Very, very cool. Well, it's funny because the last podcast I did, off air, we kind of talked about it, and he's in UK. Check it out, man. He was talking some dope ass like crypto with real estate stuff, like young dude. Shout out to Rico, man. But anyways, he at the beginning he was like, so do I get to ask you questions? Because I was like, it's very conversational. So anyways, I want to have you, because you brought it up earlier too. You were like, I'm gonna ask you that on the podcast. What question do you have for me? And I'm just gonna start doing this from now on. That's brand new segment, guys. Let's go.
Brand new segment. Put me on the spot again. I forgot what the question was now. No, man, there's so many questions like about your real estate stuff, and I'm just really interested in real estate.
Yeah,
like getting that going. It's like developing that and knowing, hey, I can buy this. I'm sure you've run into this. Like, hey, I bought this deal. It wasn't the greatest deal. I found out there was a bunch of hidden problems. What do I need to do to fix it? You know, those are always questions that I have for other real estate professionals, because those are problems that probably happens to everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
very true. It happens every day.
Yeah.
I think so I would say two answers to that would be like, one, when you go into a deal, always have the worst case scenario and then the best case scenario. And then a middle scenario. Like, it's crazy. Like, cause I do that with every deal. And I think even I was telling you about my flip right now.
Yeah.
You know, okay, well, we started here, right? Like that was the best case scenario. And then here's my worst case scenario. I literally told you that, like price wise and stuff. I think having that separates you where you go in mentally, cause it's all mental, you know, we're talking about all this mental stuff. You go into this deal mentally knowing like, okay, so worst case, this is what I'll gross or I'll make, right? Like, or net or whatever. Or best case. Yeah. And then, you know what, if this happens, I'm good too. Yeah. And then I think knowing that your current deal is not your last deal. And that's a fucking bar right there. That's a
great one right there. You know, that, hey, make a little bit, move on to the next one. Maybe I'll make a bigger pop on that.
Don't like not getting attached. And it's a tough one for me. Trust me. Like I remind myself of this one because, you know, you see the numbers and you're like, man, like that one sold for this if it's a flip, or that one's renting for that, right? Like, and it is okay. Like there's times where we have to lower the rental prices, right, just to get them rented. Or sometimes they do go for the highest like rent price that we can get, right? So I think just knowing that
sometimes you lower one, and the next week the other one rents for the higher price. Like, what happened?
Literally. So I think that would be the two things: is having those like best to worst and in the middle scenario, and then two, just knowing that that is not your last deal. Like, let's move on from this one, you know, whether it's good or bad, and then there comes the next one every time. So,
and then the last thing that I struggle with this a lot. I wonder, how do you find a good work-life balance? Because when you're an entrepreneur, you know, your mind doesn't stop. I love seeing the memes that, like, you know, it shows the wife sleeping nicely and the husband's thinking, did I shut the lights off? Am I going to have enough money to pay this bill? Where's this project going?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, now, Rob, you got to sign up for my Get Uncomfortable Mastermind for that question. I was just like, I'm just like, no, that, you know, that question, dude, like so crazy. So I would say there is no fucking balance at the end of the day. And I think you're going to relate to that. Yeah. All we can do is the best that we can. And I always, every day, I always have at least 3 very important things that I have to get done. Mentally, I probably should write these down every day when I do my morning stuff, but mentally I just have, okay, these 3 things. So as everything's going and, I'm talking to my guys, whatever, I'm going towards that number 1 thing, right? Then number 2 and number 3, and maybe not even in order. I just know, okay, today I got to call my lawyer. I got to get this loan docs out, and then I got to check, deliver this or, do this for my flip or for my rental, like whatever it is. And I think once I get those 3 done, I just feel completely good. And I'm sure you can relate to that. Maybe sometimes we don't think of it like that, right?
Yeah,
But
no, it's like,
I think,
I remember that, like when a flip's done, I'm like, I gotta get pictures.
Yeah.
I gotta get it online.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say flip, a rental.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll go like a week. I'm like, Robert,
Yeah.
get the pictures up.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, this thing's been sitting. We got to get this rented.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you gotta.
And I think other than that, dude, having a calendar has like changed complete, like everything. Like my wife and I, like, that I can tell you that, like, and then in between, that's where then I have my in betweens, right? And then again, this is my business. I know it's 2 different industries as far as like construction, for example, with your cars, but like me driving around and checking on projects, and stuff like that. But yeah, honestly, all we can do is the best that we can. That's my answer. And just knowing that you will never find balance. If you find balance, matter of fact, I truly believe that you're just fucking going down at that point. And again, it's very straightforward, right? Like
I hate to say it, but I probably think the same thing you do. If you find balance and you're like, well, I'm off at 6 and I'm doing this.
I'm gonna go watch Netflix.
You're not you're not holding up to what you probably
love it, man. I hate to wrap it up. Man, but I gotta ask you 3 questions before you get out of here, right? And thank you for your time, and this has been fucking amazing. I can't wait to like rewatch it myself, dude, and learn some more stuff. Like you're spitting so much fire, dude, that I'm gonna have to like slow it down or something.
We'll do round 2.
There you go. We have to. So 3 questions that I ask every guest at the end of the podcast. The first one is, if you were in your deathbed right now, what do you want the world to remember you as?
I think that he took care of everybody he could take care of. And as far as, I'm not talking about family, I try to do the right thing for everybody. And I think that's how my business has grown, because I try and do the right thing no matter what. Obviously, there's some things you can't do. People, I hate to say it, but sometimes people are unreasonable. Yeah. But it's like, even with my employees, I try and take care of, hey, I need a little bit more money. Okay, let's try and get you to that point. Hey, I need a loan. It's like, I try and do everything possible to do good to other people.
Yeah. I love that.
I think that's kind of the Buddhist mentality that
I love it.
What you do good to other people. But I think that's probably
I love it.
Remembered by.
Love it, man. What's a fire quote? It just made me think. And I was gonna ask it, like, what would be a quote on your headstone? But I don't want to get too crazy in there. We got a lot to accomplish before we get there, but we're all heading there, right? Like, what's a quote basically that your favorite quote that you live by, or whatever that comes to your head? There's a lot of them out there, right?
There's a lot of them. I say don't give up, because I just I never took no for an answer. Yeah. And people are like, hey, I want this 12-inch screen in my dash. I'm like, let's figure out a way to do it.
Hell yeah.
Hey, I want these seats pink. I'm like, let's do it. We never turn stuff down. I've taken that mentality.
I love that.
Really what's helped me grow.
I love it.
Is that you just figure out a way to do it one way or another.
Love it. $1 Million Hustle, bro, is like, it's going to be a book essentially of like habits or whatever you want to call them, of people like you, right? Like that are in this crazy world that we're in, right? What would be 3 habits or 3 things that you would say is the $1 Million Hustle? Meaning, if you do these 3 things, you're not going to fail. You're going to become successful. What are those 3 things to you?
I think it's like you talked about, try and do better every day. So make today better than yesterday. I love that. Everybody says that, or I shouldn't say everybody says that, but the true successful people say that. And I've kind of tried to live by that. And try and treat the people well that take care of you. That would be like your employees and the people that work for you. I like to think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I like to think that all my employees are happy, and I try and buy them lunch, take care of them, socialize with them, go out with them. With obviously it's a little bit tough when you have a family, but back in the day we used to go out with the employees all the time after work and on the weekends and stuff. But really take care of the people that are there for you, in the trenches with you, because those are the people that always have your back. And then the third one would be, God, there's just so many. But I truly believe in like doing the best job you can. Obviously, there's some people that something just comes in like, oh, this is just a cheap job, just get it in and out.
Yeah.
But it's like we try to keep the same standard for everything. Whether it's a cheap job or an expensive job. It's like you can't cheap out just because it's something that you're not making any money for, because it's still your name at the end of the day.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Love it. And then what's like a favorite book or something that you're reading currently, or just before that, like sticks out that maybe you read or listened to that has helped you grow basically in business or in life?
Yeah. God, I don't do too many books. I do a little bit of audiobooks and like podcasts and stuff. I listen to a lot of like, it sounds bad, but a lot of car podcasts. I'm not like a weird car
which
junkie,
is awesome. Yeah, which is awesome.
I'm just very interested in business.
Yeah.
A lot of like car sales podcasts on what people do with customers and how they react to different situations and how to grow your car dealership.
So what's like so with that, I'll just end it with this question here. What's like the best like sales tactic that you could teach us today?
Sales tactic you teach us.
You damn sales car people.
I know. Those damn car sales people. Touching on that. I tell people my line is, I'm not a salesman. People come in and I just build a relationship with them. And when it's all said and done, I'm like, well, thanks for coming by. And they're like, oh wait, no, we want to buy something from you. It's like when you came in, we just started chopping it up. And I was like, all right, cool, man, thanks. Like, oh, I'm here for a wrap. I'm like, oh yeah, let's do that. Because I think once you build that relationship with people.
And you could truly see that, Rob. Yeah. I just want to tell you that, like, give you your flowers, man. You could really see it, feel it, you do it. You practice this shit. So keep going, man.
Yeah, and that's why I tell my guys, I'm like, when somebody comes in, don't try and sell them. It's hard to teach that, though.
Yeah.
I said, don't try and sell them. Don't give them the cheesy salesman thing. Just talk to them. We sell a lot of high-end cars for people, and those cars don't want to be sold. They're not like, oh, look at this car.
Yeah.
You're not going to find another one that's nice. You don't want to do that. You just say, what are you looking for? What other ones have you looked at? Why do you want to buy this car? I want to take it to Cars and Coffee with my son, or my son loves this car. I want to take it on the weekends. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Where do you guys go? And just build a relationship with them and find out their needs. And maybe that car that you have might not be the right car for them. Or that wrap that is coming to get might not be the wrap. You might not be the right person to wrap that vehicle. It might need to go to a different shop. But building a relationship with people lets you analyze a little bit more of what their needs really are and see if you can service them.
I love it.
For an example on that would be like if somebody came in and they want, hey, I have a budget of $2,000 for a wrap. And then, after talking with them and building that relationship, you're like, well, I can't really do that for you. My overhead, the material costs me this much. There may be another shop that can help you out.
Yeah.
But think of me again next time if your budget's a little different, or if, in the future we can help you out.
I love that. Love it, man. Straight bars, bro. And since, you know what? Since you don't read books, here you go, man.
There we go.
You got homework to do, guys.
Look at that. I will read this.
Yeah, it's a quick read, actually, bro. I did it for people like us that are busy, but honestly, I've had people say that 45 minutes to an hour to 2 hours is the how long it reads. But that's all I got, man. Where can people find you?
You can check us out online. www.gp-customs.com, conciergemotor.com, Instagram, all the social medias. It's not hard to find us. So
follow him, guys. Like cool I'm telling you, like straight up, like it's that's where I get my pimp my ride out every day. You
want to see some out of this world,
some fly stuff, bro. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Hey, those of you who are listening, make sure you follow him, follow me. Screenshot if you're listening and tag him, tag me. We're gonna reshare it. There's enough for everybody out there, and I'll see you guys on the next one, baby. Vamonos.
Know what you want, to know where you headed. No one getting between my goals, I'm not letting. I want big money, like a mansion pool money. I want a tiger on my bed, that Tyson Zoo money. Out the bud, coming out a big hole. Got